You're gonna have to fucking kill me!
Smoking Dank Sinatra, that's all gas. On the hunt in a tall grass. Intercepting every ball pass, then I run it back, that's a TD. Check the scoreboard, y'all last. We up one, you see me. Pussy niggas wanna talk about it, go to Hellcat, no demon. I be politicking on your broadcast at the red carpet like the famous homie. Act your bitch, really famous homie, and you know it's in me, it ain't on me. So creative like I made Adobe. I've been balling like I played with Kobe.
What's the deal? What's the deal? We back again. PolitiKan The Podcast. We live Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We got a slew of topics to get to. First thing that we got to get to, man, we got to get to this NBA, man. So the Pelicans, they sit on top of the Western Conference. The Pelicans are looking for real. Zion is finally healthy, and he's looking to pan out to be the person that they thought that he was going to be, you know. Then we got the NBA also. What's the next topic? The NBA has changed the awards and named them after players. So now there are 6 players that have these awards, like the MVP, the Sixth Man of the Year. All of these awards have been changed to players' names. The NFL. So we have about 7-8 different starting quarterbacks that are injured right now. So it's like, what is the NFL going to do about all these injuries to these starting quarterbacks? They say that the league is soft already, but they're probably going to come with some more rule changes, man, because all of these injuries to the quarterback is really hurting the product. So then we got to get to this YSL news, because we all know GUNNA went down with the YSL crew on that RICO, but he has now been released as he has pled guilty to racketeering. So we're going to get to that. And last but not least, we got reparations, man. We got reparations popping up in different cities, not states, but different cities are signing executive orders and bringing up the topic of reparations. But no states are getting on board besides California, and the federal government is not getting on board. So let's get to this first topic, man. The Pelicans, they are number one in the Western Conference right now. They're balling. Zion, he just had this technical the other day when they were beating the Suns, and he does a windmill at the end of the game and almost starts a scuffle. But you know, he's talking this shit, and he's saying that they for real. What do y'all feel about the Pelicans?
Oh, nobody wants to go first, so I'll go first. All right. The Pelicans, they are for real right now as far as the direction of the team. They have a very young team with a lot of talent. Zion is a star in the making if his big ass to stay healthy. Brandon Ingram hasn't even played yet. And I think he's their best player overall right now because he has experience, because he's been playing. He's averaged 27 a game. When he's on the court, he's a mini Kevin Durant. He has game. So they have now CJ McCollum, who's a third best player, and he's in a perfect role. They had him in a wrong role in Portland with Damian Lillard as a second guy, and in NBA history proves 2 small guards cannot win a championship. But CJ McCollum as a third best player, he thrives in that role, and they also have a nice bench as well. So I think the Pelicans are real. As far as them winning the championship, I don't buy it, because there's never been a team that don't go through their losses and get their head knocked around, and they have to get their experience first. But however, they are there for the foreseeable future. And by the way, I like Zion doing that against Phoenix, especially Chris Paul, because Chris Paul is always crying and starting shit. So I like the intensity. I hate the buddy shit in the NBA. Get back to that dunking and talking shit at the end of games like they are. But the Pelicans are for real to answer the question.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Pelicans, I don't believe are championship ready. It's kind of like when Boston was coming up. They had a lot of good players, good young players. They won a lot of games because they could play a lot of minutes, and that's what the Pelicans are going to be able to do. So for them to stay on top as the 1 seed, yes. Guys like Trey Murphy, he's kind of a sleeper, 6'9", a shooter, 13 points, 4 rebounds. And if you did his per 36, he'd be averaging a lot more. So they really got a lot of guys in a lot of different roles, but there's ups and downs in the league, as we know. You can be hot 1 minute, be on top, and then just as 10 games later, you can be, sitting halfway out of playoff contention. So we'll have to see if they can be consistent.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely going to be dependent upon health, just like any other NBA team. But how they're looking right now is pretty good. They got a complete starting five, especially once Brandon Ingram returns. But yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. I think a more experienced team, even one like a Golden State, could potentially, if they come up against the Pelicans in the playoffs, could potentially knock them out. Clippers, Dallas, who was just in the conference finals, Portland, who's been to a conference final. I just think a more experienced team in the end will ultimately take this team out, maybe around the second, like that. But ultimately, this team is, part of that wave of the future, like the Memphis Grizzlies, the Timberwolves that are coming up, Boston, who has arrived already. The Pelicans are in that wave. And they're making noise, and they're a good team. So we'll see what they do, and health is going to determine all of that.
Go ahead, Ken.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I share the same sentiments as everyone else. When healthy, of course, they're a great team. The resurgence of Zion Williamson, I mean, it's definitely going to be a help to the team. I agree with Ronnie. I think when healthy, Brandon Ingram is still obviously the best player. CJ McCollum, if he can play well, be consistent throughout the year, yeah. But I think it's heavily weighed on whether or not they can stay healthy. But the West is loaded, though, so it's kind of too early for me to give a clear-cut prediction. But the Pelicans will definitely be in NBA talks throughout the season for sure.
One thing I want to add, they put Zion at like the point forward. So I think when they did that, their team got a lot better. He's making a lot of good decisions. So if they keep doing it through him, they'll be successful, but he got to be out there.
Yeah, like Ronnie mentioned earlier, Brandon Ingram ain't even out there right now. He's a key piece to that puzzle. So let's see what the rotation looks like when Ingram returns. You got Alvarado out there. He's a menace. He reminds me a lot of Patrick Beverly, but a little more skill. And Alvarado is that little pit bull. He's the new pit bull. So I like what they're doing over there in New Orleans, man. I think that I don't think that they're championship ready, like Carlton mentioned earlier, but I think that they definitely are on their way. And let's see if Zion can stay healthy finally for the first time.
I got one question for Ronnie, because I know last year, last year you had a lot to say about Zion Williamson. You wasn't really necessarily sold on him. That was like 100 podcasts.
Got them receipts.
Oh,
Pull
yeah.
them receipts.
And we can
Need
we can pull it up, because you know what, I'm always going to hold Ronnie accountable. How you feel about him this year with him coming back?
I mean, it's not like I wasn't sold on his talent. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never doubted his talent. I just wasn't sold on the fact that he was going to be committed to stay healthy, because the motherfucker done ballooned to 360 pounds at one point. So it was like, damn, like, do you really want this? So I wasn't sold on his commitment to the game. But obviously his talent has never been denied. He's a walking 27 and 8, 9 right now, just with no jumper, with no experience. You know what I'm saying? He a motherfucking monster when he's on the court. So like Anthony Davis, like Kawhi Leonard, he's been having injury problems. So
Kawhi Leonard.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Kawhi back and balling. Don't do Kawhi.
See, I knew Kalen was going to
interject. Tired of hearing about Kawhi.
Me too. I'm so tired.
I'm saying he can't stay on the floor, so it's like Zion, he can't stay on the floor. So that's what I doubted. But when he's on the floor, I definitely believe in his talent. He a beast. I don't think he's no LeBron, but he a beast.
Yeah,
I definitely see the Pelicans and the Grizzlies really having a battle out, as Zion and Ja went 1 and 2. So I do see a future, rivalry coming between those two teams. But let's see how that all goes. But let's get to this new news, man. The NBA has changed 6 of their awards to former players. Like the Jordan is now the MVP award. So it's no longer the MVP award. It is the Michael Jordan Award. Anybody else got the list of these different awards?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
do.
have. Go ahead. What is it?
The Michael Jordan Award is the most valuable player. The Jerry West Trophy is awarded to the most clutch player. Interesting. Hakeem Olajuwon, Defensive Player of the Year. That's his trophy now. Wilt Chamberlain, Rookie of the Year. John Havlicek, Sixth Man of the Year. And George Mikan, the Most Improved Player of the Year. So,
hold up.
I think that
exactly.
I think that they just threw things out there. I don't think that we should. I don't think that holds much credence. You know, as far as them comparing like the most improved player and this, that, and the third. But I mean, not to cut anybody off, but I think it's good for the league, man. It shows expansion. It shows an NBA that is actually progressive, and I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I don't either. Not with the names, just who got, like for MVP for me, I would think is the one that's had the most MVPs, and that would be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And then as far as clutch players, I think that should be Michael Jordan, if anybody, not Jerry West, not when you lost as many times in the finals as he has. But I mean, overall, as far as with the other great players on this list, I mean, I don't have an issue with it either. But yeah, I would just definitely put Jordan as the most clutch player of the year, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the most valuable player. That's just
we know what this was. Come on, let's be real here. This is a direct shot at putting Michael Jordan's name relevant to try to put down LeBron James. There was literally no reason for any of this. There was no reason for any of this.
Look, I'm a LeBron fan, but that's, I don't know about that one, man. I'm a LeBron fan, but I don't know if they were thinking like that, man. I don't know.
They are not definitely not thinking like that. They are not thinking like there's no case that needs to be made that Jordan is superior to LeBron. Y'all
don't start talking about LeBron.
Y'all love stats. Y'all love stats. Here we go. Jordan's stats is better. Jordan got more everything. There's nothing that needs to be said. So this has nothing to do with LeBron James. I agree with Amrock on the names. I like the idea, like Ken say, it is progressive in the league. I think the names is not, though. You need to let go of George Mikan. Nobody knows who the fuck he is in today's world.
John Havlicek.
They get to let go of John Havlicek. 15-year-old
John
boy.
Huckleberry.
That's to be
if you ask a 15-year-old boy who
Jamal
John
Crawford
Havlicek is, he gonna be like, that's the janitor at my school. Like, we gotta let go of these fucking names. And where no disrespect to John, but I mean the world is it's an older world now, so they gotta let go of those names go. So I disagree with Amrock. I do think Michael Jordan should be the MVP because although Kareem did win more than Michael Jordan did, in my opinion, way more for the league. Just at the time, it's the timing of it. I think Jordan was at an opportune time, so I think he deserves the highest credit, which is the MVP. So I like Michael Jordan be the MVP. The clutch one, I think it could be a number of players at the clutch. Jordan, Kobe. It could be Manu Ginobili. He had hella clutch. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm just
Ginobili could have been the sixth man.
Yes, Ginobili was sixth man, but he had clutch too.
I want to know who picked it. I want to know who picked like which players got chosen. And then I also want to talk to whoever picked the goddamn designer for these cheap ass extra 3D glass cups. These is garbage. These garbage. They garbage.
Yeah, they look like the World Cup.
They horrible.
Right. They terrible. The design is garbage. But I like the idea though. The idea is good. The idea
it just adds another element to the league for talking points.
Yeah,
stuff to talk about in podcasts and stuff like that.
Sure.
No, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think that the league is really trying to rebrand itself as it's trying to become an international brand and international game. If you look at like Giannis, Luka, Embiid, all of these top players, a lot of our top players don't even come from the States now. They're all coming from overseas. So, I think that that is really the NBA's goal, is to really flood this with European players, and then after that, get some European leagues going, and then get some type of tournament where the NBA could play the best of the Euro League and expand that way. But I think that's where the NBA is headed, and you see the NFL trying to do the same thing by having games in like London. They had just a game in Mexico. So I think that both leagues are really trying to expand to become international games. Speaking of the NFL, man, the changes that are going to come after all of these quarterback injuries. We got Kyler Murray going down this week. We had Trey Lance going down week 1. Jimmy G went down. We got Matt Stafford. We got Lamar Jackson. All of these quarterbacks, the quarterback from the Jets just went down. All of these quarterbacks are going down, and they keep changing these rules where you barely could touch the quarterback anyway, and you barely could touch the receiver. So what do you think the league is going to do now that all these quarterbacks keep getting injured, and now you got these games scheduled where you got these TV slots and nobody's watching these games because the quarterbacks that's playing is trash. So what are y'all thoughts on how this is affecting the brand of the NFL and what the hell they gonna do going forward to try to change it?
Well, shit, I think the first thing they need to do is put these motherfuckers on a diet. Like, I think it's just today's
Wait, hold on, Ronnie, where do you get this stuff from, man?
Listen,
I gotta interject.
Let me explain.
He pulled that out of nowhere.
Let me explain.
Ronnie.
Let me explain. I don't mean a diet to lose weight. I'm talking about a way of eating, because it's not just the NFL. It's this generation of athletes. If you can remember, a lot of these injuries are not by getting hit. A lot of these injuries are cuts and freak accidents that are happening. It's not just the NFL. Look at the NBA. You got superstars that can't stay on the floor. Back when we was watching basketball, the main stars, they played. Like, look, Kobe 20 years, Bron 20 years. Like, Bron is a previous generation athlete. He just transitioned to this one. But the athlete of yesteryear, they weren't getting hurt like this. And now these motherfuckers can't even stay on the floor because they don't feed their body. They don't take care of their bodies. So they need to be able to, all these athletes nowadays, they need to concentrate on their eating, working out, stretching, all that shit. Get a little cannabis in your system. Like, these motherfuckers need to really, really, really concentrate on taking care of their bodies, because I think that's the reason why they got all these injuries going on.
Yeah, it's the most violent sport, right? Other than UFC, boxing, right? It's the most violent sport. So injuries are going to happen. I know OBJ was talking about the turf and the field and how that's affected a lot of guys and caused a lot of injuries, like it appeared to do with Kyler Murray, as that was a non-contact injury. But it's the sport that you chose to play, and the potential of you getting hurt is there. I understand that it's a quarterback league, and that's the shiny position, right? To make sure that we keep the quarterback on the field who's throwing the touchdowns. But at the same time, again, anybody can get hurt at any given time. We still have, some great quarterbacks that are healthy out there. Of course, the league's probably going to make some more adjustments, but what else can you do? I mean, the quarterback is the most protected position on the football field. So I'm not sure what else you can do other than just, putting some, flags on each side of their hips and just playing flag football with the quarterback and everybody else play tackle. Other than that, I don't see what else you can potentially do. It's a contact sport. You're protecting the quarterback enough. We don't talk about when somebody from the O-line gets hurt or the D-line gets hurt. I get it. It's the quarterback, but at the same time, anybody can get hurt out there, man. Any given time. It can happen to anybody.
I mean, you know what? When it comes to football, we all know, we can all attest to, the quarterback is the biggest investment, right? So as an owner, I would want my quarterback obviously to be healthy so that my team can thrive throughout the season. I think that the direction that the NFL is going, I think in about 2 to 3 years or less, it'll be a league full of Tom Brady's, to where when you look at them, roughing the passer is called. So we'll see.
They're gonna call. I mean, they already got 2-3 Tom Brady rules in effect already. How many Tom Brady rules can we get? It's ridiculous.
Well, here's I don't know that anything will be done to protect them because they've taken every step. What's gonna start happening is these owners are gonna stop paying these guys hundreds and $200-300 million like they've done with Lamar Jackson. Look, he's supposed to be playing out his contract and now he's hurt. That's detrimental. And so I think that they're going to take an approach like they did with running backs, where they used to pay them and now it's running back by committee. There's a lot of good guys nowadays. So you can go get yourself a replica quarterback. There's a lot more of them nowadays that can do certain similar things. So I don't know that you're going to see as many big contracts like that if they keep getting hurt like this.
But if you
I don't see it changing.
Hold on. I gotta say though, if you see now, ever since like Kaepernick was like the first like option quarterback, and then Miami started to run the Wildcat, and then like all these other teams started to get these mobile quarterbacks. Like 10 years ago, Kyler Murray wouldn't even be an option, but now he was a number 1 overall draft pick because of the way that the league is going. So if the league is going towards these hybrid, speedster, look at Justin Fields and how he's doing. You got all these mobile quarterbacks now that are getting picked as such high draft picks, but at the same time, they're running the ball a lot. And it's a lot of miles and a lot of hits that they're taking that these old traditional drop back quarterbacks never took. So if that's the way the league is going, then yes, that's what's going to happen to the league. Is a lot of these quarterbacks are going to get injured, and this is going to only get worse. So, maybe the philosophy has to change back to the traditional drop back Peyton Manning quarterback. But even if you look at like the white quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying? You look at Buffalo, even the white quarterbacks are running the ball consistently now. You only used to see like the black quarterbacks.
One quarterback is not quarterback, bro. Let's not get him up.
Yeah, Jared Goff.
Like us. Let's not do that.
Hey, Caleb, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Do you think moving forward, I forget his name. Let me see. Hood Rich Carlton said, do you believe that moving forward, NFL owners will actually start investing less?
Yes.
100%.
I really believe.
The quarterback is the draw.
Yes, it is.
How many of these guys?
Especially if they're black quarterbacks. If it's black quarterbacks that continue to do this, them owners not going to keep changing all these generations and doing all this for them to be hurt on the sideline.
I thought you meant in general, though.
If they don't have to give them a contract, or if they can franchise tag them or whatever, then they're going to do that if that's the option. If that's the option,
Lamar Jackson,
exactly.
That's the option. He is an MVP. He is a proven MVP of this league. He should have a contract. Like Dak Prescott has a contract.
Dak Prescott actually played on that franchise tag and got injured, but he still ended up getting paid by Jerry. But that was exactly why he didn't want to play on that franchise tag. And that's why Le'Veon Bell was like the first one to sit out and say, nope, I'm not going out there and getting injured. I'd rather take a $5 million loss sitting out this season and secure my future than go out there. And now, they offer Lamar like $203 million or something like that. And he wanted like $230. Now what you finna get? You finna get a 3-year deal instead of a 5, and the money's gonna be significantly lower because you're coming off of an injury. So you really got to protect yourself as a brand and as a business first. I know as players, I'm a player, I gotta go out there, but you are a brand and you are a business first. Caleb, so that has to be your approach. You're in their game, you're playing their game, you're playing by their rules, you got to approach it the same way because they will burn
let me ask you this, Caleb.
And they will say that 50, 60, 80 million if they can and keep that in their pocket.
Caleb, as an owner, just say you're an NFL owner. How do you protect the quarterback?
By having 3.
Exactly. You're gonna just get a couple of.
Come on, Caleb. That's the most.
If I'm an owner, if I am an owner,
I'm with you.
That's what you're gonna do.
There's another solution. But nobody ready for that conversation.
What?
Black players who's in this position could lead a motherfucking NFL and start their own goddamn league.
Good luck. That won't protect the quarterback.
No, I'm talking about for all positions. They can make all the rules. They can make all the rules. They can make all the decisions. Stop listening to these white owners. They can make their own rules. We are the talent. We cover most of the league, the NFL. Why not?
That makes too much sense, man. But we're talking about in a realistic world, though.
Yeah.
So that's a better plan on paper.
Yeah,
that's a better plan on paper. We don't be getting together for nothing except a barbecue.
That don't mean we shouldn't.
You see,
I'm just saying that we don't.
There's money that they get has contingencies, and it's rare that NFL players get guarantees in their contract. So a lot of these players, get injured. They get paid a certain amount based off that contingency, and the rest of that shit is up in the air to wait to see what they look like when they come back.
Yeah.
So as far as football goes, I mean, the NBA is different, but football, it's like the shelf life for these players keep getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter.
Exactly. It was 7 years, 7 to 9. Now it's 3 to 4. Guys be in the league, out the league. They come in for a cup of coffee and they get a breakfast sandwich and then they're gone.
They come in for a physical, then they cut.
Right.
For real. Hey, I've been watching Hard Knocks. Everybody watch Hard Knocks and watch you get cut live on the TV. But let's get to this hip hop news, man. So we all know about the YSL RICO charge, and Gunna had went for bail for like 5 times and got denied each time. But now he has been released as he has pled guilty to racketeering, and he denounces gangs. It's coming out. They're stating that some type of paperwork is out saying that he agreed to testify if called on, which, if they're going to really try to go for this, he will be called on. It's not going to be a question if called on. When called on should have been the language, was because we know that he's going to be called on. So what are y'all thoughts on this whole Gunna release? Him pleading guilty. They don't just take a guilty plea. So you have to give up intricate details that are proven to be true for them to even accept a guilty plea. So what type of information do you think that Gunna gave up? And how do you feel about him denouncing the gang and pleading guilty to this racketeering charges to get his freedom?
It's so deep. I'll let somebody else go first.
Okay. So here's what I want the community to do. I love this saying, keep that same energy. Now, when 6ix9ine did this, no matter the situation, when he went in, we all called him a rat. Now, by the street code and the street law, he's a rat, right? Or is he good? Are we gonna have that selective care because it's one of our beloved rappers who we always make excuses and their behavior, we excuse it because they're one of our favorite rappers. Is that what we're gonna do here? I just want to know first.
I don't know.
Rich Carlton, I'm gonna let you know something. He ain't my favorite. I don't give a fuck about that nigga. I don't listen to his shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? So my opinion ain't finna be biased about the shit. I had a different take. I was, but thinking about this shit really, like Ken say, is deep. And I know Ken, so I already know where he probably going with it. But it's where I'm going with it is deep because I'm getting tired of the world taking on this street thing called snitching. I mean, you got kids nowadays that'll literally die by the snitch. I don't want to snitch. So you'll know that your sister or your brother took 15 pills, but you don't want to snitch. So you're gonna watch them die because you don't want to snitch. And it's a stupid street code. It's stupid as fuck. Why are you being loyal to something that's not loyal to you? So the world has us all fear because you shouldn't snitch or you don't snitch. What is the honor in that? Like okay, snitching, it could be so many different things. So you're supposed to not make the best decision for yourself for a fucking street code? Like, right. I see it a lot different now. I'm getting older and I don't buy that shit no more. Like, everybody needs to stop trying to live by that shit. Like, that man is probably thinking about what he could do for himself. Everybody, when you're doing some bullshit and crime, you can't blame nobody else. You know the risk of it. You know the risk of you doing shit. You know the risk of it. So you can't hold nobody. You got to hold yourself accountable. I can go to jail. I can get in trouble for this shit. And if something happens, it's on me. So then you expect me to give up their whole life for a fucking street code? Like, yes, finally somebody's gonna come out and denounce gangs. When is one of these popular motherfuckers that's a former gang member gonna come out and denounce gangs? The shit is fucking dumb. Like, we gotta, and I love I always advocate for my people on here. But somebody gotta do it. We gotta denounce gangs and come back and reverse this shit if you want to get better, right?
Hey, you know what? You know what? First of all, when it comes to denouncing the gang, I think that's the first level of being able to liberate yourself, right? You're saying, hey, you know what? I used to live like this. I'm making the decision not to live like that anymore. And I'm standing on my own. I can respect it. Mm-hmm. As far as like the street code and stuff like that, I'm not a street guy. So I can't really attest to it. So I don't have much to say there. But what I will tell you is that I can ask everybody on the panel right now, when was the last time ever in life you got hurt and someone else said, ouch?
that part. That part.
At the end of the day, we're individuals. We make decisions in our life, and Gunna, he's doing what's best for him to be able to see day of light. Now, will there be consequences? Will there be backlash? Of course, in the Black community, because we live by this false sense of unity, but from a negative perspective.
Exactly.
1,000%.
He did what he did. He's moving forward. I don't think there should be any ridicule. As a journalist, I still mess with hip hop, right? And I still love the culture. I'm not going to cover it. I don't have any opinion other than what he eat don't make me shit, and vice versa. Excuse my language.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like you guys are saying, what else was he supposed to do? You know, if he told what he knew, then he had to tell what he knew, right? This is a young Black man who is, you know, a successful entertainer who's trying to get out and earn a living, and hopefully trying to go back into the communities and help these Black communities and help these young kids. So, I mean, you know, if they asked him some questions and he had to, you know, say what he had to say, ultimately plead guilty. What else was he going to do?
We got to stop that. Hold on. We got to stop that. We got to stop talking about what these rappers are doing for the communities, bro. They're not doing anything for the communities. They're not. Listen.
Some of them don't have to broadcast it. They don't have to broadcast what they're doing. Some of them are doing things. They don't have to broadcast. Okay. They don't have to be on Instagram with the video. Yeah, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm giving a homeless man $100. They don't have to do that every time. Or, yo, I'm at this elementary school putting up computers and helping out. They don't. They do that. Not all. You're right. Not all of them.
Okay. Hold
there's
on.
a lot more than we give credit for that are actually whether it's actors, rappers, people in sports. They're helping out the community. Again, they don't have to broadcast it though.
Here's my issue. My issue is that yes, they may be doing some stuff, but on the other hand, you know the stuff that they are doing that's not beneficial. So there's got to be some accountability there. Like, I'm not just gonna say, hey, yeah, you're doing some stuff, but in your lyrics, you're talking about rapping and killing and putting money on people's head and popping perks and lean, and then there's an opioid crisis going on, and all lean is opioids anyway, and everybody talk about pulling up the phone and popping a Xanny and getting off a bar. Like, nah, bro, I can't. I'm not. Nah, because there's a lot of people that they influence, and so I can't. It's got to be levels to this shit, and I love rap music, and it's hard for me.
I don't know, because if you look at the culture, man, especially like a black culture, there'd be like free baby CeeLo.
Call some names, Caleb.
You know, free baby CeeLo. I'm just using a hypothetical situation, but baby CeeLo then committed 5 robberies, then
6 attempts of
robbed your
home invasion,
neighborhood house, and now he in jail for murder because he did a drive-by on a house that killed the baby, and they be like, free
and
baby,
it's free him. It's free him.
You know what, I agree. You know what,
that sums up the culture to me. And so when you try to speak to a culture that does and stands on shit like this, I don't know what the answer is. You know what I'm saying? As far as like the street code, the street been in shambles. There ain't no street code. The street code, nigga, is get it how you live. These young niggas don't respect the most gangster nigga. The young niggas respect the nigga that's getting money. As soon as one of these young niggas start getting money, all the rest of the young niggas follow. So it ain't no loyalty. They just trying to leech off the top dog and try to find their way next to the dude so that they could get their hand on some of this money. They don't got no skills. They're not chasing no dreams. They really just scamming and trying to get by. They're living for the moment. And that's why they all on the lean. That's why on all the perks. That's why all they doing all this, because the whole lifestyle is based on right now. It has no like thoughts of the future.
You know what, Caleb? I got a question and a statement. So the statement is, you can't terrorize your neighborhood for years and think that you're going to rectify the whole situation by having outreach and backpack giveaways. And we see that we see that a lot in hip hop, right? And another thing, you know what? For the panel, I got a question, and I want you guys to really think about this, right? Because it's an oxymoron and it's a grave contradiction. It's a grave contradiction. Can you be for? I'm not saying BLM, not the organization, but can you be for Black Lives Matter? Be a gang member?
No, because that is a direct contradiction. That don't make no sense.
No. I think obviously no, but I think I don't really like when we go there as Black people, because people always want to go there in as if gang banging is all of us. That's the gang banging.
Yeah.
Is a very small percentage of Black people. It's more Black people that have got careers, jobs, working, and they always want to go to the gang shit when that probably represents 5% of our culture. So
is it not a big problem though, Ronnie?
It is, but I'm saying
no, Ronnie, I agree with you.
People always want to
go there. Here's why it is.
Go there when they act like that's us. That's not. We don't agree. I don't go out killing motherfuckers. I don't go out killing Black people. So I hate when people use that, because that's not us. That's them.
Let me tell you why, Ronnie. Let me tell you why.
Like that. There's ignorant people like that in every race. White people, Mexican people. There's ignorant people like so. Though they always try to point out Black people in that area. Obviously, no. Black lives don't matter to you if you're out there committing drive-bys. No, of course not. But that's only a small percentage of us. But I hate when we always try to target that and try to point that out. Like that just irritates me.
Well, here's this. Tell me a race of the other race where the athletes, rappers, and entertainers are the people's spokesperson. Like, it's really only the Black community, and it's not even done by us. I feel like it's done by
them.
I don't want to say them, because that's not taking accountability, but there's just a direction that they steer people to and tell them that those are our leaders.
It's them.
And Kanye West.
It's them 100%.
It's them.
It's them 100%. That's the way they designed it. That's the way they designed it. We've always been their entertainment, man. We used to fight to the death. That was their entertainment. They made bets on this shit with the slaves. They made them fight to the death. The loser died. The winner fought to live another day, and they bet on this. That was their entertainment. The only difference is now they're throwing us money. It's the same shit.
Here's another reason why I don't like these rappers.
Ronnie,
hold on. Hold on. Go ahead, Amron.
Yeah.
Oh no. Go ahead. Who Richard was gonna say something.
Well, one more thing. Here's another reason why I hate that they use the athletes and rappers as our spokespeople, because these guys have all these women, and it's nothing but women, and they throwing money on women when they're not showing no type of companionship, leadership, being able to be with somebody. And when they die or go to jail, them women don't have nothing for them, for their mama, for their sister, for all the people they was taking care of, but they got Birkin bags and Chanel and all this other bullshit. And bro, I just don't respect none of that, bro. I hate that we glorify that, but I don't respect none of that, bro.
Yeah,
we don't glorify that. That's not all. That's not all.
Yeah, that's not all rappers. That's not.
We don't glorify that though. That's what I'm saying. People. That's what
I'm saying. We don't.
Yeah, that's not all rappers.
I don't glorify that shit. We don't glorify shit. They glorify that shit. It's not people always want to say we don't. That's a small
But
percentage.
because they show them as our spokesperson, then people think that that's how we all think, and that's what I'm saying. That's an issue.
And but why do we always with rappers? Why is it always just okay? You know, they rap about, you know, selling drugs, doing this, doing that. Maybe they had to do that to ultimately break through to start doing maybe what they want to do, i.e. a Jay-Z, right? I mean, i.e. a T.I. Like it, you know, it doesn't always have to be okay. That's just where they're at. That's their, you know, that's only their lane, right? Maybe they just have to do that to just break through, right? Some people start off as a writer and then become a director. So we can't just blatantly just target them like that and just say, oh, you're a rapper and you're again, they may have grown up in an environment where they were selling drugs. They were around drug dealers. They were around trap houses. And of course, that's going to reflect in your art. Just like if an artist is painting, you might paint something, a reflection of what's happening in your real life. It's the same.
Nobody died in a Van Gogh painting. Nobody died in a Van Gogh painting.
Hold on. I got one thing to say.
I got one thing I just want to say.
Go ahead, Ken. Go ahead.
But you know what, Amrock, I get what you're saying. But I've never heard in the history of hip hop, and I've been listening to hip hop for a very long time, brother. I've never heard an ex-drug dealer not glorified selling drugs in the street. I've never heard a tutorial on how not to do it. Of course, they talk about some of the virtues that might have come of it. But you know what? But the overall premise is most dope dealers who turn rappers or vice versa, because that's semantics, they're glorifying that in their music, man.
True.
Yeah.
But we've all heard the music, and we all made a choice. You can still listen to the music and decide, hey, you know what? Even though he did that, I don't have to. We still can make that choice.
But just it being a decision is detrimental to the black community, though.
Exactly.
But again, that's the system that they set us up in. That's not necessarily what we chose to do. They flooded the streets with crack and AIDS and all of that stuff. We didn't do that shit.
And now these are pharmaceutical pills that these kids are hooked on. Lean is a pharma. This is big pharma that is making this shit. So how are the kids getting their hands on all of these pharmaceuticals? This is not like some man-made manufactured stuff. This is some chemical lab, you know, like distributed, you know, shit. So I don't understand, like, how can this not be systemic?
Go ahead, Ronnie.
This is what I'm saying, though. People always want to point out the fact that a lot of these rappers sold drugs to get where they at, or they did this, or they did that. How the fuck y'all think this country was built? So we're saying that white America.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not the point,
to gain everything that they gained. All the crooked shit that white fucking blue collar America did.
The system
to
is
gain
already
wealth.
set.
Like, get the fuck out of here with that. They literally slaughtered a fucking whole race to get this shit. Like, and they continue to do it. Like, people always want to point out black people's flaws, but they don't want to look at the top.
Speaking of that,
they did all the bullshit they did to get their wealth and to control everything in this country, but nobody ever points that out. It's always niggas selling drugs to get where they went.
I feel you, Ronnie. Yeah, so speaking of that, man, yet they did slaughter a whole race, and then they only gave certain tribes reparations for that because all of the black tribes didn't get any part of those reparations, and don't look like those black tribes are ever going to get theirs. And now they're trying to give reparations out to black people in California. But now we got some other people on the ballot. We got St. Louis, we got Boston, we got cities that are getting into the mix. We got Kansas City. These different cities are trying to put this on the ballot for reparations. So why are the cities getting involved and not the states? And will this ever, get, be on the ballot on the federal level? You think will the federal government ever give reparations to black people in America? Or is this like only the state of California and Governor Newsom trying to give this out?
You know what, man? Can I start? I don't care about that. The biggest reparation is closing the economic wealth gap between white and black people. The biggest reparations is us getting our land. I don't want any symbolic progression. That's what I like to call it. Just like when they had Black Lives Matter plastered all over the NBA floor during the pandemic, that means nothing. Nothing. It's symbolic. It's symbolic progression. It means nothing to me. Let's have the bigger conversation. Allow us to sit at those tables and make executive decisions.
Right.
Yep, I agree. And even more so, right? Even if they were to give all Black people reparations for everything they did, all we would do is basically give that money back over time, right back to them anyway.
Exactly. Good point.
Exactly.
Black people are the biggest. Hold on, black people hold a small percentage of the wealth. Yet we buy just as many Mercedes Benz as the top. Okay, but here's my point. Here's the point that I'm making. Man, wait, can I finish? Here's what I want. If you're gonna, don't give me reparations. Give us a coastal city and give us a city on each coast and let us get 25% of everything that comes in and the land and the taxes and give us something tangible. Don't give us no money, because if you give us money, all we're gonna do is buy Jordans. Pay off our student loans, which is giving them their money back.
Man.
Yeah.
And it goes back in the
Go ahead, Ronnie. Down Black people every time you start off your point. Like, that's a very small percentage of us. Again, there are a lot of us with businesses. There's a lot of us that do what we got to do. That's a small percentage of us. That's not all we're going to do. That's not true. Why do you always got to down Black people like that? You don't got to. I agree with the second part of what you said, but why do you got to say that first part? All we going to do is buy. You're generalizing. No, we're not. That's a very small percentage of us.
Don't you remember the Dave Chappelle?
During the pandemic, all I heard was people saying people was out there blowing money doing negative. There's a lot of people that did what they had to do and create their businesses and created shit and was investing. And no one talks about that. It's always a negative. And to answer the question, fuck the reparations. I don't believe it. I don't think they're going to do it. I agree with what Ken said originally, but I don't think they're going to do it. I'll believe it when I see it. I would rather go Ken's route where we can sit at the tables, make executive decisions, close the wealth gap. I guess they think that giving us reparations will close the wealth gap, but I don't think they're going to do that. I just don't see them giving every Black American that proves it 350. I don't fucking see that happening. That's a cap. That's bullshit. They've never done nothing like that for us. They still don't give a fuck about us. I don't believe it. It's all bullshit, smoke and mirrors. Fuck all that.
I agree. It's about more than money. And to Rich's point, some of us will do that. But like Ronnie is saying, a lot of us understand what if we were to get the true reparations, which is land, which is the rights to musical and sports royalties, which is the right to inventions like what Dr. Umar Johnson was talking about on the Breakfast Club. That should be part of the reparations package, not just money. Now, money should also be included. But just to say that, all of us are just going to go buy spinning rims, buy weed. Not all of us are going to do that, man. Like, right. I'm in Baltimore. I want to go buy up these blocks. As y'all may have seen on shows like The Wire, this or that shit is real, where it's just blocks and blocks and blocks of abandoned townhomes, beautiful townhomes, like one I'm in now, where this block was actually fixed up, right? I want to be able to have the opportunity, and I hope others can buy up those blocks. To your point, Rich, to start those type of communities. But, just to say that all of us are going to do that, that's not true. And reparations should not just be about money. It should be the whole package. This shit isn't also just about land. It's like I said earlier, inventions as well. Do you know how many inventions that we created that we don't get credit for, that our family is about? So like you said, Ken, it's the bigger package, and nobody is ready to have that discussion.
And mental health.
Yeah, there you go too. Mental health as well. Absolutely.
Hey, hold on. Are we done?
Nah, we ain't done. Y'all was going back and forth. Are y'all done?
Yeah. So Ronnie. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you said I get out. So every time I start a point, I put down Black people, right?
You do. You always have something negative, a negative undertone to it. I don't understand what's the point of always pointing out of course we know that there's hood niggas out there and people out there that get money that's going to do that. But why we got to always start off with that? That's not even true for all of us. That's a small percentage of us, bro. It's a small percentage of us. Gang banging is a small percentage of us. Ratchetness, it's a small percentage of us. That's not the whole culture, man. It's not. It's not even a big percent. It's a very small percentage of us.
Do you know what the average salary is for an average black man in America?
I can't imagine very high.
Right. You know what the average salary is for a black woman in America?
Even lower.
Even lower than that. No, it's lower.
No,
yeah.
It's not black.
It's lower.
Right.
Black,
okay.
Black. Most black. Go ahead.
So okay, and then there's a good like 70% of black people marry black people, right? Which that people don't talk about that. They talk about the small percent that is in the top percent that maybe marries out, but for the most part, black people are marrying black people. So when I'm looking at all that, right, I'm looking at that as, hey, we need to make more money together. Like we can only do it if we all are in this together. And you can't sit up and tell me that we have a common goal or that we're all in this together, and that for the most part, man, our people don't make very good decisions, bro.
How do you say that for the most part? See, and that's where you're not putting.
What's the context behind that, though?
It's context behind it. I get what you're saying about some of us, but you're really not understanding. That's where you're not taking no. You're not making them take no accountability. It's a double-edged sword. Yes, we have to make better decisions, but a lot of our decisions are based on what the fuck we got. And based on the history and based on everything that has occurred throughout the years, you got to study your history, bro. There's a lot that you're not understanding. It's a lot you're not understanding.
But here's the thing.
It's systemic. It's mental.
We're behind. Yeah. That's why they're talking about reparations now. We're behind. That's why that's why this is the conversation on what we're.
But even if you give me money, but you can't give me money if I haven't learned no tangible skills. There's a percentage of us that have learned a lot of skills, but there's a good percentage of us that haven't learned a lot of sales skills, all these skills to be able to keep the money. It's one thing to get given money, but it's another thing to take that money and flip that money into more money. And
let's talk about why though,
bro. But what we lack is the infrastructure. Right. And what you lack and what you think is that because of the hood element that exists, that the black people like ourselves won't create the infrastructure that's necessary once that money comes in. So the vast majority is going to be investing their money in the per se infrastructure for us to stand on our own. Now the rest of them,
why do we need somebody to give us money to do that though?
Burn their money out, but for the most, but that's the reality. Is that
because it was stolen from us. That's why.
Even when we do start stuff up, man, we don't be supporting that shit fully. Come on, we gotta take some accountability. We gotta take some. We can say all this. We can say all this. Okay, but
that's why
I think that you're speaking on your own personal experience because I support all these brothers.
No.
I can't speak from the next man's experience or what the next man does. I have no control over that. I can only speak and attest to what I do. And as far as what I do in my own personal belief system, is that yes, I do give back. I do this, and this is the way that I think. And there's others like me, and this is how we all ended up in this space here. Is because our like minds brought us to this space so that we can have these conversations to figure out what we can do and how we can rally these troops. This is the whole purpose for these conversations. So when you say that these things don't exist or that people are going to blow their money, no, infrastructures are being built in platforms just like this one that we're on right now that exists so that we can have these conversations and bring these thoughts up so that when the money comes and these situations are real, that we can actually have some stance behind what we do. We can have some unity. We can have something to build off of. Right. Instead of just getting a check and thinking that we just going, it's not Dave Chappelle. The richest black man ain't going to hit the dice game and be the richest black man. That's not how this is going to go.
And the richest white man, they not finna give us no money. So for us to be sitting banking on that, That's a recipe for success to think, oh, we'll just get it all ready. So when we do, we need to get it now. We need to focus on
banking on that. No one's even banking on that. What are you talking about?
We've survived this long and haven't banked on it.
Go ahead, Ken.
But hold on. So I think that you guys on the panel are missing the intricacies of what Hood Rich Carlton is saying. He's saying that we still have our own issues within the Black community that we need to hold ourselves accountable for, because we already know what's systemic. We already know that. Like, we already know we're faced with every day. And I agree with him. I don't know the percentage, but there's a percentage of Black people who actually feed into things that we shouldn't be feeding into, that's leading to us not being able to catapult and ascend and be thriving people as a culture. So we can't act like Hood Rich Carlton is just talking nonsense here.
He is talking nonsense because we can't control.
Ronnie,
We can't
hold on,
control
Ronnie,
other people.
Maybe how I'm saying it.
Listen.
Yeah.
We only can worry about who is willing and who is tapped in. We can't worry about the people that we can't control.
That's the issue. Nah. See, and that's the problem. That's the issue, bro.
Let him go. Let him finish his point.
To sit up here and think that we're going to get every Black person on board or we're going to get everybody on board, that's not realistic, man. A lot of us are lost. A lot of us are far gone. But there is enough of us that do have these like minds that if we got some money like that, there is enough woke and tapped in people that could do something. We're not going to sit up here and go to downtown LA and get all the fucking Sherman base heads off of Skid Row and expect them to comprehend what the fuck we talking about. Of course, a lot of our culture is like that and lost and far gone. But why we're focusing on them, we're not focused on the ones that we do have. Like Caleb says, we're not the only podcast that's on this type of stuff. We're not the only group that's on there. There's a lot of us across the nation that are doing these things. Just because you don't see it, there's a lot of us that are on this. So why do we always focus on the negative? Well, we don't have this, or all we're going to do is be stupid. No, man, there's a lot of us.
That's not what I'm saying.
Go ahead,
that
Ken.
is what you're saying.
No. Go ahead, Ken. Go ahead, Ken.
Go ahead, Rich Carlson. Go ahead, man.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ken.
I'm not arguing with Ronnie no more, man. It's fine.
Well, here's the thing, bruh. Jesus was with the 99 and he left then and went and saved the one. So for you having that mindset, we need the bums on Skid Row. You know what? With in the infrastructure in the economy right now, there's drug addict white people, all these people doing ain't shit jobs, stuffing coal in coal mines, all this fucking bullshit to keep the economy going. So yes, you may not think there's any use for somebody that's on Skid Row that's clucked out, but if we give them a place to live, if we have our own shit for them to work and do a ain't shit ass job, maybe cleaning the sewer system or something, like these people, we need them. So for you to sit up and say that we don't need to worry about them, you're no different than somebody that says like, oh, I'm a good nigga. No. Let me talk.
Let me talk.
That ain't what the fuck I said.
Let me talk. Let me talk.
I didn't say that shit. Don't twist my motherfucking
That's
word.
that would be no different than me when I'm talking to white people saying, no, well, I'm one of the good ones. I'm not one of the niggers. I'm one of the good. I'm just shit, but if you're saying we can leave them, then what does that mean? If you're saying leave them, we don't need them. We need to worry about the ones we got.
What I'm saying is we can't expect we can't count every head and expect every head to have the mentality to try to do something. Yes, we want to end homelessness and get them off the street, get them cleansed of drugs and all that shit. You don't be on this podcast. I'm the biggest advocate for Black niggas on this podcast. Like I've always been. I always have an excuse for Black people. I'm for my people. So don't sit up here and tell me that I'm leaving them out like a white person. Don't twist on my words like that. What I'm saying is we can't expect homeless people and people that are on drugs and people that just not even homeless people that just have that mentality that's going to blow money. Of course, they're not going to understand. But what we can do is gather the ones that are tapped in and do believe and lead by fucking example. That's what we can do. And hopefully we can lead by the example and people can follow. You could talk all the words you want. Actions speak louder than words. That's always actions is.
Hey, Ronnie, you know, Ronnie, you just said something very profound. You just said, and tell me if I'm quoting you wrong. You just said that you're a huge advocate for Black people and you make excuses for Black people. Did you not just say that?
I did. Okay, let me explain that. It's not that I make excuses.
Man,
it's not that I make.
hold on,
I know
Ronnie.
what you're doing here. I
Because,
know what
Hold
you're
on,
doing here.
Ronnie.
That's what
let
Hood
me
was
listen very
alluding
well.
to.
Okay, you asked me a
Is
question.
when
Let
are
me
we
answer.
going to stop
You asked me
making
a
those
question. Let me answer it.
excuses
Let me answer the
for
question.
black people? And that
Let
was
me
his
clarify
point
it. What I
versus
meant
yours.
was I'm always the voice of reason for black people, not necessarily making excuses. I'm the voice of reason. I always try to look at the other. I always try to look at the other reason or the reason for this. I'm never going to sit up here and push my people to the side. This man try to get up here and tell me that I'm like them. No, bro, you don't know me like that.
I was using that as an example.
Because that's not true.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't roll like that. Everybody that knows me personally,
hang on. So look, can we if we're going to be leaders of change and show black people how to talk to them, we need to be able to disagree and you not say F me and throw me to the side. We need to be able to talk to you. Hold on.
I never said fuck you, bro.
Calm down.
Hey,
bro, what are you talking about? I never said fuck you. I never said that. I would never disrespect you like that, bro.
That's not what you said.
I never said it.
That's not what you said.
Nobody fuck you.
That's not what you said. That's not what you said. That's not what you said.
That's not what I meant.
My
That's
point,
not what I mean. I don't mean that, bro. I don't mean.
So then when I talk, I don't mean to degrade black people, but my point is that I understand. I've been there, and I know we can't forget about those people. When Rome was coming up as a powerful nation and all this shit, the peasants and the people that were at the bottom, they maybe didn't know what the political party was talking about, but guess what? They believed in Rome, so they didn't need to know everything that was going on. They could have been a crackhead, a clunk, a peasant, or whatever it is. But if they all were believing in the same thing, then they were doing the job without even knowing it, because they're already sheeps anyway. They're just walking around doing the other people's job regardless and not even knowing it. So we could have them doing that for us if they're already lost, is my point. And if we don't focus on them the most, that's why Jesus left the 99 and went after the one. If we don't focus on those individual ones the most, bruh, then we're going to be as strong as our weakest link.
Final thoughts. Close it out, Ronnie.
I don't understand what the hell he just said, but I really don't. Like, he sounded like the Charlie Brown dude that go womp, womp, womp. I really didn't understand what he was talking about. So what I'm saying is, yes, we do have to take accountability for certain little things, but let's not get lost in the sauce. Let's not get lost in the sauce. Know your history, know the why, know all that. And yes, we got to lead by example. That's the reason why we got this platform. That's the reason why we have ideas and all these things. We're all creative minds that's trying to move forward. And if we could be the example, you know, let's say we blow next year or we blow up, or that's our opportunity. That's when we got to hold ourselves accountable. When we get in position to be able to really, 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 really evoke change like that, we got to hold ourselves accountable and stick to our word. We can't get the bag and run away and sell out. That's where I got to hold myself accountable. You know what I'm saying? So we got to keep being the example and try to move the culture forward. So I know we got to get some shout out to everybody on this cast. What's Hood Rich dude? I would never say fuck you, bro. So don't think that.
Yeah.
Like, after my brothers on this
No,
show,
I don't.
You know, I ain't never disrespected like nobody. I might get loud and I might talk shit, but I never disrespect you. I got respect for everybody on this show. So shout out to you, shout out to Ken, Kay, Amrock, everybody. Murdoch on the boards. I always forget about my boy Murdoch. And shout out to everybody that keep rocking with us, man.
I'm mad that Murdoch stole my background.
Shout out to all you guys. You know, always great to be on this podcast, be on this platform. You know, again, you know, I just think, you know, just closing out with reparations, you know, to Ronnie's point, and to Hood Rich's point. Listen, you know, I think primarily we know, right? Again, we know that some of us are lost and you know, some of us may spend that, you know, if it is a check or reparations, may go Amazon and spend that or go buy. We get that. I think the point is just, you know, like I said, we don't always have to clarify that because we understand it at this point. And let's just, like to Ronnie's point, be that example for the, you know, for those who may be lost, you know, show them, look, this is what we should do. To Caitlin's point, you know, build these infrastructures, right? Again, get what we are really owed with reparations. Like Ken stated, you know, let's have that real conversation. And until we can have that real conversation about what we are truly owed, then, you know, the reparations talk, it is what it is. But, you know, like I always say, shout out to all you guys. Shout out to Baltimore, to the DMV. And again, yes, we are definitely for Black people on this podcast for sure, man.
Man, I'll go. Shout out to everybody. All kings aligned, talking about real stuff, real issues. Really getting the dialogue out and the real conversations, and just a difference in opinions would make the world go around. Amrock, nice to finally meet you, man. We've been corresponding on social media for Instagram.
Same.
Yeah, man, for quite some time, man. Good to see a face behind the voice. Shout out to Kalen for allowing this platform. Ronnie, you always come with left hooks out of nowhere. Hood Rich Carlton, you got some good persuasive conversation going, man. It was an honor to engage in dialogue with all you guys, and I'll see you guys next show. Can Chronicles Media, follow me. That's about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I want to thank Murdoch once again. I always got to thank Murdoch, because the evolution of this show has definitely grown. Murdoch has been on board. Value going up. We getting it together. So it's big shout out to Murdoch. Shout out to my wife. I always got to shout out my wife, man. That's my rock. She hold me down. None of this is possible. She bought me my first mic. She bought the mic and said, "Here, nigga, I don't want to hear no excuses." So none of us would be here, and this platform wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that woman. So shout out to my wife.
Out to Jay.
Shout out to my nigga Ronnie. We moving. We got some things moving early. We was trying to rest this month, but opportunity calls. So we got to keep it pushing. Shout out to Amrock, Blackwood Creators. Keep doing your thing. Ken Chronicles, man, this guy right here, man, this guy is
good. I like him. You good.
I think this guy's elevation just, from the day that I met Ken to today, like, you would think that he's like, just, I can't even put it in words right now, but
a scholar and a poet.
Ken is man.
Appreciate that, y'all.
He outside, I be trying to get him outside, but he outside his way. But he outside.
Thank you, fellas.
And Hood Rich, man, keep joining us, man. Keep coming back Wednesday night and join this panel. We having these conversations, and every week we gonna keep coming with these topics. Because this is a lot of shit that nobody's talking about, and this is why we have to touch on this and put this content out. Because at the end of the day, this shit lives forever. You know what I'm saying? And real niggas don't die. I'm trying to be immortal. Right. That's the whole reason why we're doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what you gonna do with your life, but I'm gonna get to it, man. PolitiKan The Podcast, man. We out.
All right, y'all. Have a good night, y'all.
Night, y'all.
You're gonna have to fucking kill me!
Smoking Dank Sinatra, that's all gas. On the hunt in the tall grass. Intercepting every ball pass, then I run it back, that's a TD. Check the scoreboard, y'all last. We up one, you see me. Pussy niggas wanna talk about it, go to Hellcat, no demon. I be politicking on your broadcast at the red carpet like the famous homie. Ask your bitch, really famous homie, and it's in me, it ain't on me. So creative like I made Adobe. I've been balling like I play with Kobe.
We still are, sir.